Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, Meathead. And a lot of no's, and a lot of people slamming the fucking phone down on you. And a lot of people telling you to get out of my fucking office. And you're not built for that. You're just not. One of our big successes of the 90s sold encyclopedias door to door. I sold life insurance door to door. I've had my door slammed. I can't count. I don't know how many times. But they tell me there's courses and there's podcasts on dealing with rejection. I've listened to a couple of them. It's all horseshit. It's written by a guy or a gal that's never been rejected. And they're selling the course to you how to overcome rejection. The only way to overcome rejection is to get rejected 1 billion times. That's a slight exaggeration, but a bunch of times. And that means that you're going to lengthen the process. And that's why the successful guys are doing their deals in between 11 and 15 months. Because some of you will get better at the Toastmasters early, and some of you will never get good at Toastmasters. And improv is good. I try, when I was young, I tried, I didn't like it myself. Getting a salt shaker and saying it's a bar of gold, and I couldn't get behind that. But practice. So now, I alluded to it in the beginning. Some of you went to a school that's got alumni. Some of you belong to religious organizations that have groups, associations. Some of you are professional in various fields, either law or chiropractor, and they have associations. They've got medical schools, and I suggest you all go into healthcare, but you're not, but they got medical schools. They've got the dean of the medical school. They've got the president of the medical school. They've got the board of directors of the medical schools. They've got partners at the Big Four or the Big 10 accounting firms that handle the medical practices. They have law firms that have special departments that are headed up by experts. These are the kind of people you look for chairman. And you see them eyeball to eyeball. You're not taking them to dinner. Even you insecure ones, don't take them to dinner. The most they're going to get out of you is a fucking Starbucks. Coffee, I don't know what I haven't been to Starbucks a lot of time, but that's the limit. And if they invite you to their club, he's paying, or she's paying, or it's paying, and you go, and you're not there. Your first meeting with your potential chairman should not take more than 12 to 15, 16 minutes. That's it. You're not there to swap spit and bodily fluids. And you look the part. Remember, you have 2 times to make a first impression. When he sees you walking in the door, and then when you open your big fucking mouth. Most of you will get past what you look like. But myself included, because, my hummingbird, or my alligator mouth overloaded my hummingbird ass more times than I've got white hair in my head. I always sounded cocky, braggadocious. And I didn't tone it down in India, but that doesn't go over in India, for example. That didn't go over in China. Sally used to say, Dan has a personality that grows on you, like a leech. But it is. And ultimately, because I come across loud, they think I'm mad. Now, you don't want to see me mad. I make Bailey look like he's a church choir guy. I really get aggressive. And so I'm just loud. In my neighborhood, if you couldn't scream loud enough, nobody paid attention to you. And of course, but I wanted to be a priest when I was young. So I don't know why, but I wanted to be a priest. That's a true story. So you pick these people, and so you're going to have a funnel first for chairman, potential chairman. Okay, now some of the potential chairman you're going to interview, you're going to know right away they shouldn't be chairman, but they might be an industry expert. They might be something else. So you keep them. Then you have a backup funnel. The funnel, and there's 2 different ways to go after your chairman. One, thank you very much for your time, sir. I really appreciate it. I'm the founder of blah, 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 and we will be commencing or roll up fragmented industries in healthcare, assisted living. Okay? And then you shut up. And if they don't talk, now some of these guys are bigger introverts than you. Okay? If they don't talk, he who talks first loses. And I know sometimes that 10 or 20 seconds seems like eternity when nobody's saying anything. And then, well, thank you very much. Some of the questions they should ask you, if they're legitimate, well, am I the first that you are entertaining the idea that I could possibly be your chairman? Don't lie. You know, and as the gods would have it, if it is the first, then you can say you're the first. But eventually he won't or she won't be first. So you can rifle after a chairman, rifle with a scope, or you can scatter with a shotgun. Meaning I'm interviewing for the position of non-executive chairman for my NewCo, my startup, 8 or 10 or 12 people. And you're the first one I'm talking to, but I will be talking to others. The positive thing you want to hear from them after you give them your 13-second or 19-second spiel is, if I can add value, I'm very interested. If I can add value, then you're home. But you don't assume, you're always assuming the close, but you don't close it just yet. Well, thank you very much. But then you ask, is there anything in you, I don't mean to be personal, but is there anything in your background that could preclude us getting into finance down the road? They'll know exactly what you mean. Even in Delhi, they'll know exactly what you mean. And if they say no, or if they say they got to get back to you, that's next. They shouldn't have to get back to you on that. But some will say, well, like many of the kids come to me, all right, Kim, I have this guy, he's great, he's this and that, but he was an unindicted co-conspirator in a bank robbery or a pedophile or some shit. If you're an unindicted co-conspirator, it just means you had a good lawyer. You can't take any of those on the board. You can't take it. Or you can, but it's going to let you down the road someplace. You don't take brothers. I mean, two guys that are brothers. You don't take brothers and sisters. You don't take fathers and grandsons. Nobody related to each other or to you. Unless you're, I can't think of it. Unless Gandhi was your grandfather, I mean, you're not taking any Gandhis. I mean, Mahat, But you want to be able to not have to explain about. You've heard me say about the university I went to. It's a good university. But you've got to explain about it because they changed names just as I was graduating. Like from a cow college to a university. It's really not that bad. So you don't have to explain about this guy or gal. You want to know it instantly. Like when I had Heineken. I never had to explain to anybody about anything. They didn't say, well, do you mean his brother? They knew exactly who I meant. So you want somebody you don't have to explain about, that you can be, proud about. Proud about. That, and it's tough to judge, will he stand up for you in a fight? And you'll only get a feel for that after you're doing it for a while. But some guys will, and some guys won't. Peter still got the same chairman. He stood up from 3 times now in the last 7 years. But he's also made about 100 million euros. We're going to 11, 12 meetings. Not bad. Not bad. So you get this person. Now, how do you get them to respond to you? Okay, LinkedIn, email. You have 2 or 3 templates in LinkedIn. In your gigs, 2 or 3 templates, and you see which one works. But the magic words in the subject of the LinkedIn email: free founders equity. Now, there's a lot of other people using free founders equity on LinkedIn that has nothing to do with QLA. But they see them on YouTube's, etc., other than by YouTube. But those are the magic words. Free founders equity. And implicit in that, or inherent in that, is non-taxable. You don't go through that explanation, but it means they're getting something for free, and we're all old enough to know there's no free lunch. But they're getting something truly for free that they don't have to pay taxes on it until they exit. It's not a taxable event. Non-executive chairman. Yeah. Donkey well. Yeah. Anyway, that's Dutch, in case you don't know. Anyway, alsjeblieft. Maybe we'll have some old Geneva for dinner tonight. Anyway, okay. Is your hand up the other?
Yeah. Do you mention the tax part explicitly to them, or is that just?
No. When you say free founders equity, I mean implicit in that it's a tax-free transaction until they exit. Everybody, maybe you don't know that, but everybody in the world knows what that means. But if they ask you, then you answer. You know, they may say, "Well, excuse me, young man, I just want to make sure that I'm clear on this. Free founders equity for the start the company, and there's no tax basis." And you say, "Yes, that's correct. It's zero tax basis." But when and if he doesn't ask anymore, don't say anymore. But if he asks, then my only taxable event is at exit. Correct, sir. Now these guys are all, not all, but almost all of them are going to be smarter than you. They understand what this all means. But you'll have the answers. It's not like when you do the shells around and you try to pick the thing under the shell. That's not what this is. We're full disclosure. We don't say it all at once at the beginning because we don't want to confuse the issue. You want them to say, God, really sounds interesting. If I can add value, I'm very interested. And there's no salaries. They're not gonna, but if they ask for money, I'm sorry, sir, it's a startup. We don't have money to pay, but I'll keep you in mind for another deal. There is no money. There is no salary. In the beginning, there's no honorariums. Honorarium is what you give a board member to come to a board meeting. For example, British Petroleum, if you're a board member there, you get about 275,000 pounds a year, plus 20,000 pounds for every meeting you attend. Well, I mean, that's a living. That's a living. So you get, when you retire, you want 5 or 6 of those kind of board positions. But that's not what this is. The benefit is the free founders equity. Now, 99% of the people will not ask you how much equity they're going to get. Even in India, they don't ask. You want them there because of your enthusiasm. Now, I never had trouble being enthusiastic, okay? I did a deal called Cartridge TV. Yeah, Cartridge TV in the 60s. We did a big underwriting. We raised $300 or $400 million, and it was a big fiasco. It was a scam. Now, I didn't know it was a scam. The investment bank didn't know it was a scam. But the guys from Taiwan at that time took the money and ran like a thief in the night. Cartridge TV, I remember it well. It was my first major fuck up on Wall Street. And because I'm OCD, I do. When I don't sell 1 million shares, I sell 5 billion shares. In for whatever that is, in for the thing. Anyway, I always overloaded on everything. And I overloaded on one of the biggest fucking fiascos of the 60s. So, and he says yes. So if you're rifling and not shotgunning, well, thank you very much. We're going to see a role play the last day of a successful closing of a chairman. But the idea of getting them to answer the email is you want their private email address so you can correspond with them. And then you make a meeting, not a Zoom call, although during the corona, 90% of all these were done by Zoom call. And you go have a meeting to meet with the guy. Now, all the board members, it's better if they're geographically desirable. If you're in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, New York City, okay. If you're in Washington, D.C., 100 miles, that's geographically desirable, okay. If you're in Bangalore, Delhi, too far. Mumbai is too far, but you want them geographically desirable, okay. I would suggest that you plan on all your company's boards should have slight international flavor, okay. The Netherlands could be Belgium, the UK, Germany, okay. India, I'm not sure that they're going to, there are high performance people in Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. They're hard to find, but there are. So you may, the UK, because India has a close association with the UK. And I know a lot of guys that are on boards in India. And the company that you're going to form, which I already mentioned, is a company, when you talk to your lawyers, major shareholder friendly, with the idea of going public someday. There's certain formats you can't go public. You got to change, before you go public. But you want a format that you can go public, whether you do or not. You want the ability, the choice to use it or not. Right now, companies in your same industry are your main path of exit, not IPOs. And we'll get to IPOs, and you'll understand better why IPO isn't the great thing anymore. So now you, when you're meeting the guy and he sees you with his eyes and you're having a coffee or whatever, and he may ask you a couple more questions, and you're going to have another 45 to 90 second elevator pitch, okay? And you send him your mission statement and you send him your executive summary. Which we have samples of. Executive summary. Now, some guys are just changing the name from medical to aerospace or whatever. I would hope you do, it's growing at so much percent, and they don't do anything, and so they put the wrong names, the wrong percentages. You have to do a little homework to figure out how your industry is growing, and then you plug in the numbers for the mission statement, and you send them this before you meet with them. And so when you meet with them, I hope you've had time, sir, to read the material I sent you. To make sure they read it, I call the day before, 2 days before, and I talk to his private secretary. Miss Jones, I'm Dan Peña. I'll be meeting with Dr. So-and-so or whatever in a couple of days. And I sent to him, and I just following up to make sure that he had an opportunity to read it. Now, and she'll say, I'll make sure that he reads it. Okay. Now, sometimes they don't read it. Okay. But if they do read it, they're going to be asking questions. And then I said, based on this, because you certainly add value, sir, I can offer you the position. Remember, the company's not formed until our first board meeting of a chairman of NewCo, blah, blah, blah. And he says yes. If he says he has to think about it, that's fine. Some of these old gits don't process information that quickly. And assuming you say yes, sir, is the LinkedIn profile the profile you would like us to use? And they'll say yes or no. Is the LinkedIn picture of you? And normally they got a picture there when they're 40, now they're 80, They use their high school graduation picture. And he'll say yes. Fine. Or they may say, I have another picture. So, fine. I'll contact your assistant or your secretary to get that. And we will be using your profile and your picture with our executive summary and mission statement to continue to build the board. And they'll say yes. And then they may say, I want another picture then. And that's fine, Everybody's a little vain. And so now you're started. You got your executive summary, your mission statement, and a chairman profile with this picture. Now, some of you have accomplished so little in life, you don't even have to put your profile or name in the deal. At least 7 or 8 of you in this room don't bother. And then you use that to get the CEO in the same manner. And then the same process, and you have his picture or her picture with his LinkedIn profile. Now, occasionally, some of these guys and gals have a professional profile, not in LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is limited to so many characters. My profile is about 4 or 5 times longer than the LinkedIn one. So they may ask you, do you want the short, medium, or long version? And medium version. You don't want the long version. We had a doctor named Joe Curlin back in the day, and he had like 19,000 word profile. Short, medium, or long. And you go down the road, chairman, CEO, CFO, in-house lawyer, in-house accountant, and the in-house accountant is separate from your CFO. Two different guys. And both of the accountants that are on the board are checking your outside accounting firm. Because when they ascertain that you're on a delayed fee basis, the bills go up. They shouldn't go up, but they go up because when they figure out you're going to finance their fees, they're on a rocket ship to heaven then. And so you want your accountants, hey, you call up the KPMG guy, whoever it is, hey, give us a fucking break. I mean, okay. And normally the fees get cut. Same thing with the lawyer, in-house lawyer. He's to check or double check the legal bills. The legal bills. We had one kid, the only thing that they had done, they graduated. Now, I'm not saying this is only, I'm not making fun because I certainly wasn't this kind of student. He graduated #1 in University, Columbia University, LA, New York City, pre-med. But, I mean, he was 24 years old, and he looked 8. So we didn't use his profile. He still owns 61%, but 2 or 3 of you that easily aren't that young, they won't, it doesn't matter. You look old enough. And so now you have your pitch deck, so to speak. It's not a pitch deck. And in your executive summary, it's like a mini business plan. Should be no more than 2 or 3 pages. You know, for example, healthcare is growing at 23% or 24% in 2022, and it's estimated that it will grow till 2050, yada, yada, yada. And you certainly aren't getting, or you're not considering any contracting industries. Contracting. Just as Goldman Sachs or J.P. Morgan, whoever it was, and the 2 big banks pulling out of healthcare, pulling out of global warming, which isn't global warming. I mean, there's some industries that are not growing; they're contracting now, and so we don't want to be rolling up the fragmented industry in a contracting business.